Robert Christie is with the Prince's Highway Safety Group, and he's on the line now. G'day, Robert. How are you going?
Yes, hi, Nick.
Tell me about your group and where you've come from.
Well, originally it was a group of residents from along the highway. Obviously, most of us are affected in one way or another. Some of us are losing houses and so on. But when we looked at what was being proposed, we discovered that it was the intention of the RTA to basically have us all directly access the highway just as we do today. And essentially what's going to happen is the highway will be widened and the speed limit increased to 100 kilometres an hour, and we'll continue to drive onto the highway where we do today.
Yeah, well, but speaking to one of the engineers from the council as well as Matt Brown, they're saying that the verges and the turning areas to get onto the highway are going to be much widened, and you know, the engineers have thought about this and each of these access points are going to be dealt with in its own way. You satisfied with that?
No, I'm not actually.
What would you prefer to see?
Essentially what we've got is probably one of the most dangerous stretches of road in New South Wales, and from the front gates of some of these houses, people have as little as 6 seconds to decide whether or not they're going to turn onto the road, purely because of the amount of time that's available before after they first see a car. Now, even if the amount of lanes available is increased from 1 to 2, the fact that you're turning onto that road and without much warning for the oncoming motorists, who often are tourists just visiting the area for the first time and not familiar with the road environment and so on, with so little notice, basically you're creating a situation every time you turn on, or even when you slow up to turn off the road, that is creating danger for those people. And even if they've got a lane to merge into, if they've got a series of cars coming along behind them in that lane, there's nowhere for them to go.
So what's the better solution if you were able to
the best solution, and I've actually talked to road safety experts on this, I won't say who it is, but it's certainly one of the preeminent experts in Australia, who has agreed with me that the best solution is for all of these accesses to be basically removed from the side of the highway, and a small, like a country lane, built just beside the highway to pick up all of those houses and farms and dairies and so on, and carry the traffic locally off the highway down to wherever the nearest major intersection is. And then at that point they can either go under the highway and go on their way to the shops or whatever it is, or if they need to join the highway, they can join it in a safe way on one of those ramps that lets you either accelerate or decelerate safely and merge with the traffic.
And why has that been knocked back as an idea?
I think it's an RTA decision, and I guess it just comes down to funding. On the one hand, you've got what budget's available, and on the other hand, you've got an analysis of how many lives you will lose if you don't spend the money, and so essentially it's an equation that they go through every time they build a road.
Yeah, well, surely the access is going to be improved though. You're going to have wider verges. You're going to be able to drive along and get up to speed with the traffic before you have to merge, so you're not under that same sort of 6-second pressure that you mentioned.
There is no slip lane, if that's what you're talking about. The slip lane is something that lets you gradually get up to speed and then move onto the road. There are no slip lanes at all being proposed for any of these entrances. Now, if you're familiar with slip lanes, there's one generally when there's say a rest area on the side of the highway, you have a slip lane to slow down in, and then you'll have another one which will
speed up in on the way out.
Again. Yep. Now, usually these are at least 150 metres long, maybe 200 metres long, to let you slow up from 100 k's down to 0 and then turn off.
Right, but as far as you understand, that hasn't happened with this present design.
It's not happening, and I'll tell you why it isn't, because if you do the numbers and you divide, there's over 40 of these in a stretch of 7.8 kilometres. If you divide them up, it's one on average every 200 metres. It would mean that you would need to basically build a slip lane.
Just a giant slip lane.
The entire length of the road.
Well, it sounds like logically they may as well build a service road.
So why not just move that lane off to the side and make it a little service road?
Okay. Do you think that's a significant impact in cost? I mean, you said you talked to someone who was in road safety, an expert.
Yeah, but I haven't talked cost to them, but I think essentially if on the one hand you're talking about making the highway safe for people to drive directly on it, you've really got to provide, enough space there, and by the time you provide that extra space on the highway itself, surely the cost of doing it on the highway must be something similar to doing it just in a little separate lane on the side.
Any chance that there'll be any further modifications from pressure groups like your own?
We hope there will be. Well, we're very positive about getting the road itself. It'll be a great bonus to everyone that travels down here to have a good highway. We just want to make sure that it's as safe as possible for everybody that uses it.
All right, Robert Christie, thanks for talking to me today.
Thanks very much, Nick.
Robert Christie is from the Prince's Highway Safety Group.